When my son described ghosts that tucked him into bed, he repeated the exact same words used on me 20 years earlier. So, a woman from Savannah, Georgia named Kim sent me this story, and she swears that every word of it is true. But, like always, I can't verify any of it, so take it as entertainment and you decide for yourselves then. And seeing as I am currently in Savannah, I figured this was the greatest time to tell the story. Now, Kim grew up inside of an old plantation house that had been in her father's family for generations. And her father passed away when she was only 9 years old. But long before that, something inside the house had already decided it was going to help raise her. And according to Kim, she spent the first years of her life growing up inside of this old plantation home that had belonged to her father's family for over generations upon generations. The house was absolutely beautiful, actually, quite like the one right there. It was very old, very, very beautiful, very big, and every floorboard groaned whenever someone walked on it, and every floorboard had a tale to tell of their own. Now, her father passed away unexpectedly when she was around 9 years old. But before he passed, something strange happened already started to become part of her nightly routine. And from the time she was about 3 years old until she was 7 or 8, every single night she would hear footsteps, not random noises, they were actual footsteps walking down the old wooden hallway toward her bedroom where she slept. And she remembers lying perfectly still, listening as though each step was coming for her, and as each step got closer, then the footsteps would stop outside of her bedroom door, and the old brass doorknob would slowly turn, and the door would creak open, and an elderly man and woman would quietly walk inside. They never frightened her, it was never anything scary or anything like that to her. In fact, she said they were very comforting. And the woman would gently pull the blankets over her shoulders while the man would smile down at her. Then they would tell her goodnight, tuck her into bed, and then quietly leave. Every night, like loving grandparents, they did this night after night. The strange part was that she recognized them because hanging in the room, in the living room, was this massive oil painting of the exact same elderly couple dressed in elegant clothing that looked like it had come straight out of a 1920s picture film. And she'd tell her parents that the couple from the painting came into her room every night to say goodnight to her. Now, her mother would smile, and her father would, of course, laugh it off as, some vivid imagination that a child has. But eventually, and sadly, the visits stopped. And by the time she was 10, they had completely disappeared from her life, these mysterious people. And years had passed. She grew up, she got married, she had children of her own, and eventually she inherited several family heirlooms from her mother's house, including those same enormous oil paintings from her childhood. She hung them in the hallway of her own home, and for almost a year nothing strange would happen. Then one evening, as she was tucking her youngest son into bed, he casually looked toward the hallway, and he had asked her, "Mom, who are those old people standing out there?" And she was completely confused, and she had asked him, like, "What did you mean? Who are you talking about?" And he pointed toward the bedroom door, and he just said, "The old man and the old lady." And her stomach dropped because, he continued on telling her that they come into his room every single night to say goodnight to him and to tuck him in. She froze, and then he smiled, and he said something that made her every hair on her body stand up. And he said that the woman, the older woman that would come in with the gentleman, told him that, you know, your mommy used to love when we tucked her into bed. And the next morning, she drove straight to her mother's house, still shaking, and she asked who the elderly couple in the painting actually were. And her mother told her that those were her father's great grandparents and family members that she had never met before. People who had passed decades before she was ever born or ever a thought. Yet somehow they knew her. And if her son's story is true, they still consider themselves part of the family to this day. So the question is, were they simply watching over generations that they never got to meet? Or did something inside that old plantation house follow the family wherever they went? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Yes, it is hot as hell here.